When DIYing a swing set for your kids, something like swing spacing may seem trivial enough to just wing it. Don't. When a child is swinging on an average-sized swing set, they're traveling at about 13 miles an hour through the bottom of that swing. So striking one of the swing set legs would be less than ideal. Furthermore, two kids swinging side by side in different directions could collide at 26 miles an hour if those swings are not spaced properly.
To demonstrate what that would be like, I'm going to accelerate my car at 26 miles an hour directly towards Miles.
Oh no, you're not.
Safety, Dad! You're back! I missed you!
I never left you, Jeff. Safety lived inside your heart.
In this video, I'm going to break down all the physics and geometry that go into where you should attach the swing hangers to your swing set so that your backyard fun doesn't end in a trip to the ER. But first, what's up? I'm Jeff. Welcome to my backyard. This channel is Fun Size Adventures, where I'm here to help you and your family build some backyard fun while keeping it on a budget. Back when I was building my swing set, I found these generic minimum distances for how to lay out a swing set. Those are 16 inches of space per swing and 12 inches between swings. That's a great starting point, but it's actually more complicated than that. Now that I've been using this swing set for 2 years, I can tell you that it has worked out okay, but there's definitely some things I would have done differently. The video that I made of that swing set build has quickly become the top video on my channel, so I owe it to you guys not only to update that information, but also explain the concepts behind what makes for perfect swing set spacing. Additionally, if you don't care about all the math that goes into it and just want to be told what to do, then stay tuned to the end because I'll have a few different plans that you can copy depending on what size swing set you plan on building. The first thing you need to consider is what type of swings you plan on using. They'll fall into two basic categories: belt swings or rigid swings. Your run-of-the-mill flexible playground swing is called a belt swing. When you sit on it, it contours around your upper thighs, which makes the amount of space it needs highly dependent on who's riding it. My upper thighs are 15 inches across. Miles are 9, Cal's are 12, and Sarah's are...
Hey, what are you doing?
Not important. What is important is that variance will affect where you need to place the swing hangers on your beam. To be sure everyone will have the space they need, you should calculate off of your largest rider. In my case, that's me. Rigid swings are any that don't flex, including saucers, platforms, toddler swings, even the classic wooden board swing. The space between the bottoms of the chains is constant, so where the tops need to connect remains unchanged, regardless of who's riding it. But rigid swings almost always extend past the chains on both sides, so this overhang will need to be added into the space between this swing and the ones that are adjacent to it. Next up is something that most overlook: chain angle. If the swing has the bottoms of the chains attached to it 16 inches apart and the tops are attached to the beam 16 inches apart, then the chains will be parallel. Parallel chains are fairly neutral. If the swingers swing straight, the swings swing straight. If they try to make it twist, it'll twist. If the space between the chains is larger at the top, that outward tension will help the swing remain straight and harder to twist. Alternately, if the space between the chains is larger at the bottom, the swing will be more likely to twist. Obviously, the twistier the swing, the more likely a rider will collide with his neighbor. So ideally, you want the space at the top to be larger by a couple of inches. On a rigid swing, this is easy enough to calculate, but when it comes to a flexible belt swing, if you plan on your largest rider to have, at minimum, parallel chains, that will ensure that everyone else will have a less twisty ride. The last thing, and I've been asked more about this than anything else, is how close to the end of the beam can I place a swing without worrying about someone hitting one of the swing set legs? There's a few factors that will determine if that will be an issue. First, there's the angle of the legs. I have the swing set brackets from Eastern Jungle Gym, and they angle outward away from the swings at 15 degrees. So for every foot of chain between the beam and the swing, the leg moves 3 1/4 inches away. If you have 7-foot chains like I do, that puts the legs about 23 inches away from the swing. Plus, both the bracket and the swing hanger are going to add a couple of inches between the top of the chain and the leg. So even if you put the bracket and hanger as close as possible, you'll have 28 inches already, which is plenty to ensure safety. One thing worth noting though, some of the other brand swing set brackets, such as the B-Tool and ABUSA ones, only have a leg angle of 10 degrees. That small change brings it down to 2 inches of space per foot of chain. All things equal, that would bring that 28 inches down to just 19. So if you're using them, or if your chains are shorter, I'd recommend leaving some extra space. I'd recommend a minimum of 24 inches between the swing and the legs. Here's a chart to help you see what you'll need depending on the length of the legs and the brand of brackets that you choose. So now you've hopefully gotten a grasp of the basics you'll need to keep your swing set spacing safe. If most of what I just said went right over your head, here's my minimum recommendations. For belt swings, mount the swing hangers 18 inches on center. For rigid swings, add 2 inches to the width of the chain connections on the swing. As far as the space between the swings, mount the swing hangers 14 inches on center as a baseline, plus any overhang if there is any on any rigid swings. If the term on center is new to you, it means you want the halfway points of the hangers to be that distance apart. One last note is that any multiple rider swings like large saucers should be placed near one end or the other to prevent focusing too much weight right in the middle of the beam. Remember that these are best practices and there's always some wiggle room. Where I got into a little bit trouble with my initial build was I didn't compensate properly for that overhang on my saucer swing because I was trying to squeeze it into a swing set that was not quite big enough. I ended up fixing that by replacing it with a smaller saucer, so all was well in the end. As promised, here are a few diagrams of how I would suggest spacing out a few different sizes and variations of swing sets. Feel free to screenshot them for reference as you build. All the products I've mentioned are linked down in the description for your shopping convenience. Those are affiliate links, so if you choose to buy, my channel will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, and that just helps keep these helpful videos coming. Also, if you found this video super helpful, considering hitting the super thanks button below and sending a couple bucks my way so I can treat Sarah to a cup of coffee, because she loves her coffee. Since you're now well on your way to planning your own DIY swing set build, you should check out this video right here for more information that will help get you going. Until next time, get out there with your kids and have a fun-sized adventure of your own. I shouldn't have mentioned coffee. Now I'm thirsty. I'll see you later.
Safety is always watching from the bushes. When you least expect it and try to be dangerous, I swoop in and save the day. Safety!
I love you, safety now! Safety, safety,